Many of you go to Bible school in the summers. When I was little, Mom and Dad didn't have a car. They never drove. We couldn't go anywhere unless someone come and got us and carried us to church, carried us to get groceries or whatever. But I had a neighbor who went to Springway Baptist Church. And he asked my parents one day, well, the man and the woman, if I could go to Bible school at Springway with them. And that was my first experience, I think, with Bible school. But if you know of a child that's near to you, one you've never seen before except passing down the road, ask if you can take them to Bible school. That was it for me. I mean, that's when I got saved, 12 years old at Bible school. But being 12 years old, I had some doubts. You know, the devil always does that. And I had asked God many times to assure me that I was saved. Well, it rocked on and I prayed some more. I prayed for I was 12 when I was saved, so I was on the way to work I was a Southern Bell operator. And we'd plug those things in, and we didn't do one dingy-dingy, two dingy-dingy. We really punched the cord in when we saw a light come up, and operator. And I would do that at home a lot of times when I'd answer the phone. But anyway, that was my first job. But anyway, on the way to work, I don't know if I was listening to the radio or just contemplating work or whatever. The brightest light come across me. My soul was lit up. I knew then that was my assurance. I knew that He had saved me. I don't know why He saved me. But I wasn't a mean person. I never was. I minded my parents. I did what I was told. But I was a sinner. A sinner every day, whether I realized it or not. That's why He saved me. I confessed my sins, and He saved me that day. And I was baptized at Springway Baptist Church when I was 12, because I was saved, even though I wasn't quite sure all those years. A lot of times when we're listening to Brian and other preachers, we get that little tug on our hearts. Do you know what that means? The Lord is speaking to you. That's what it means. I'm sure that's what happened to me that day. But if you feel it, I don't care how good of a person you are a sinner every day. And God will touch your heart. Jesus will give you a calling to Him. Don't pass it up. That might be the only chance you have. He will speak, but it's your decision. The Lord put children on my heart. As most of you know, that's all I've ever done. And I'm surprised I'm not talking baby talk up here today. I've probably been teaching little ones for going on 30 years. About 20 here at New Holland, I think. But children just melt me. We've done a garden, most of you know, children's garden, up behind the church next to Mark's youth building. And one summer, the church allowed me to take over the Wednesday night service for the children. So we would meet back in one of the Sunday school classes, and we would have our Bible study. We would pray. If anybody had any prayer requests, we discussed them. We prayed again. And they'd say, "When are we going to the garden?" Well, as soon as we got through with our lesson, we went to the garden. The garden was not just planting things. The garden was God's garden. It was the children's garden. I'd take requests of what they wanted to plant. But I think the thing that excited them the most, and you would think kids know where all these vegetables come from, but the most exciting thing was a potato. They thrilled. Is this little thing going to grow a potato? Well, we dug our holes, and each one had an eye. All of you know what that is. And they dropped their eye in the dirt, and we covered them up. Well, when's the potatoes coming? Every week. When can we do the potatoes? And finally, the plants, the upper parts were drying up, and that was time to dig the potatoes. Well, I had one child, and I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning his name, Davis. I want to do it. I want to do it first. I want to be first. Well, I gave him the pitchfork, and he stuck it in the ground, and up came this huge potato. Ricky Davis, his grandpa, told me the next day or two. I had to go home and cook that day. But there was excitement. They learned so much about God by growing those potatoes, the beans, the pumpkins. Anything, even a bell pepper, they got excited about it. But the greatest thing, I think, was teaching the children about God. That's why God put them on my heart. Because I am supposed to lead them in the way they should go. The parents first. I'm not taking that away from the parents. The parents have got to be there. They've got to do what God has commissioned them to do. But I was given that job of teaching them. And you wouldn't think an 18-month-old That's what I teach. 18 months to 3 years old would be attentive to things of the Bible. But they listen. They'll go home and tell their parents what the lesson was about today. They'll say, we sang whatever song we sung for the day. Talk to your children. Talk to your grandchildren. I've got a great-grandchild right now out there. She's my gardener. She wants to stay at my house all the time. We planted seeds yesterday. I just want to tell you some Bible verses that if you've never been saved, please listen to that tug on your heart. Acts 16, verse 30 and 31. I'm running out of time or I would read them to you. John 3:16. But don't forget about 17 and 18. Ephesians 2, 8 and 10. 8 to 10. By grace I am saved. By grace you will be saved. Grace relates to salvation. It means kindness bestowed on one who does not deserve it. I didn't deserve it. Even though I was a good kid, I did not deserve it. But he saw fit to love me. He loved me when he was on the cross dying for me. He bled. He shed his blood for me. And he was thinking of you too. But I want to continue to live my life in service. And even though you're saved, you'll have your problems. You'll have your life problems. My family's going through something right now, but I can see prayers already working. I can see the things that are happening. And deaths. We've had, I think I counted 7 last night since October in my family. We buried brother-in-law yesterday. But you got to be ready. The things of this life are not going to get better. Every day you hear of something that you think, oh, it can't be worse than this. Just pray about it. Pray for your family and pray for those children. I hear things that's going on at schools and it just makes me draw in a knot. If we don't pray for them, there's no hope unless God can tug on their hearts, unless God chooses to take care of those kids. Well, I guess that's all I've got to say. I know I've took up too much time, but this is what God laid on my heart, and I hope that I made sense. But there's going to come a time when there's nobody to tell these kids. Nobody to tell that grown-up down the road that's dying with cancer. So please do what God lays on your heart.